let's end this exercise with just talking about dictionaries and tuples. And so a dictionary basically gives you the ability to add an index directly in the list for you. So it's lists and dictionaries are not that different in terms of basically a 2D array here, but it automatically will take whatever you put in as the first variable as the index for it. So you can see here I've got a couple of different lists. I've got population, I've got countries, and then if I put those together, it creates this type of list. If I wanted to create a dictionary, which is, something, a lot of times you'll do it where you want to have the ability to quickly find something, then what you want to do is go ahead and put it like this with curly brackets. And now you see I've got myself what's called a dictionary. And let's take a look at that. And you see that my data is set to that. If you look at my type for the one I created initially up here, you see that that's a list. Now the nice thing about this again is that I can quickly index and find things with a dictionary. So again, if you're wanting to, let's say you have a bunch of constants that you just want to set aside, and which might change, by the way, but you want to start with that as maybe it's some multipliers for things, interest rates, let's say. Then you could set those aside for your 30, your 40, your 15-year, your 30-year mortgages, things like that. And then you have 4%, 5%, and then of course those are things that can change, but they don't expect them to. So then when you're looking for something for the 15-year mortgage, all you do is put in 15-year and you'll get that percentage. So again, it's an easy way to reference items in other calculations. So you can also very easily add to it, and see what I did there. Once I hit world, sea, land, and what their population is, as you see what happens, it actually adds that. So because it didn't see anything called sea, land, it actually added it here on the end. And if I want to, of course, delete it, all you have to do is say delete. And then what am I looking to delete? I'm deleting sea, land. And when I do that, you see that it deletes not just sea, land, but it also deletes the population with it. So it deleted the entire entry in that case. So again, dictionaries, and what's different, dictionary gives you the ability to look up really quickly and efficiently and easily with a unique key in that case. Okay, and again, just to show you that if I was to type in Albania or look for it, it'll always give me the value that goes along with that. Now, tuples are different. Tuples are what are called immutable, which means they cannot be mutated, which basically just means you can't change them. So if I create a list, as you see here, see I'm sorry, not a list, a tuple. Tuple is when you have parentheses. So a list is square brackets, a dictionary is curly brackets, and a tuple is regular parentheses. And so when I do that, it becomes something that cannot be changed. So I think months, days of the week, you can think male, female, different things that you want to create that you never want to change. So you never are going to accidentally change December to something else. Then this is the way to do that, is by creating a tuple for it. So you can see here, when I see the type, it is a tuple. When I go to add a month called George to it, it doesn't work. If I try it again, even trying it as a list, it's not going to work. I cannot concatenate to a tuple is what it's telling me. So if you look down here, I do have a month's list. That has now become a list. And so when I go to add George, as you can see, I now have George as one of the names. So it looks like I had a little bit of space in there. And so it's not different in terms of how to retrieve data, anything else. The only thing different about it will be the fact that you cannot change anything. So again, a tuple, you want to use it especially when you're creating a list that never is going to change, then that's a tuple. Show you something down here. If I was to say months to equals months, so months is a tuple. And when I set one to the other, it's still a tuple. So all I did was create a tuple in this case. If I want to take a tuple and I want to change it, Then I have to change it to a list, which you see down here with months 3. So this line here takes the tuple and creates it and makes a list. And you can see now that is something that I could change. So I can come in here and say months. And you see I've got that list here, and now I could go and add George or anything else I wanted to that. So that's the other two types of I guess arrays of data. So really we've got lists, we've got a NumPy array, which allows us to do a lot more calculations. We've got a dictionary, which gives us the ability to quickly reference and look up things, and then a tuple, which is immutable or cannot change. And so those are what we have now. Now the next one you're going to see is going to be the data frame, and that's from Pandas, and that gives us a whole bunch more ability to do things.